Hello, dear viewers. Welcome to this video. I truly appreciate you taking the time to be here. If you enjoy content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends and loved ones. Now let's begin. 10 harsh truths you must accept to live a happy life. No one is obliged to love you. You are not the center of the universe for other people. Expecting unconditional love from others is a road to disappointment. Accept that attachments are temporary and love freely without demanding anything in return. When you let go of expectations, you allow yourself to experience love in its purest form, without conditions, without entitlement. True love is given, not owed. The sooner you internalize this truth, the more fulfilling your relationships will be. Many people go through life believing that if they are good, kind, or generous, others will automatically reciprocate their feelings. But love is not a transaction. It is a voluntary choice. Some people will not love you back, no matter what you do. This is not a reflection of your worth, but rather a reality of human nature. You cannot force affection, nor should you want to. Love that is freely given is infinitely more valuable than love that is coerced or expected. Moreover, relationships are constantly evolving. A person who once adored you may change, drift away, or simply move on. This is painful but natural. Instead of resenting those who leave, appreciate the time you had with them and accept that nothing lasts forever. The more you resist this truth, the more you will suffer. Finally, true happiness does not come from being loved by others, but from cultivating self-love and inner peace. The most powerful thing you can do is learn to be content within yourself. When you stop seeking external validation, you become emotionally self-sufficient, and ironically, this often makes you even more attractive to others. Life is unfair. Some people are born into privilege, while others face immense struggles from the beginning. Expecting fairness in all aspects of life is an illusion that leads to frustration. Instead of focusing on what is unfair, shift your attention to what you can control. Many great figures in history, philosophers, leaders, and thinkers, rose above their circumstances by working relentlessly within their means. Complaining about the unfairness of life does nothing to change it. The truth is, fairness is a concept created by humans, but the world itself does not operate on fairness. Nature does not care about your hardships, and neither do most people. You will meet individuals who get ahead through luck, manipulation, or connections, while others struggle despite their best efforts. This is the harsh reality of life, but instead of feeling resentment, use this as motivation to work harder and smarter. The more you focus on adapting rather than complaining, the better you will navigate life's inherent inequalities. The key is to focus on your own path. You cannot control the starting point, but you can control your effort, resilience, and determination. Those who accept that life is not fair stop wasting energy on bitterness and instead channel it into progress. You do not control everything. One of the biggest sources of anxiety is the illusion of control. People spend their lives trying to manipulate situations, influence outcomes, and dictate how others behave. But the reality is, the only things truly under your control are your thoughts, actions, and responses. Everything else, external events, other people's choices, the randomness of life, is beyond your grasp. The Stoics believed that peace comes from understanding this truth. You cannot control if a storm will ruin your plans, if someone will betray you, or if circumstances will change unexpectedly. But you can control how you react. Do you let external chaos dictate your emotions, or do you remain composed and adaptable? The sooner you accept that most of life is out of your hands, the less stress you will feel. Instead of trying to control everything, Focus on mastering yourself. Your reaction to life's unpredictability determines your inner peace. Everything is temporary. Nothing lasts forever, neither the good times nor the bad. Joy, pain, success, failure, relationships, and hardships all come and go. The problem is, people cling to the highs and resist the lows, causing unnecessary suffering. Consider the happiest moment of your life. It passed, didn't it? The same applies to your struggles. Whatever pain you feel now will not last forever. This truth should comfort you, but it should also make you appreciate every fleeting moment. The Stoics called this practice amor fati, loving your fate, embracing the temporary nature of life rather than resisting it. If you accept that nothing is permanent, you will stop living in fear of change. You will embrace experiences for what they are without attachment. This is the path to true inner peace. People are selfish. Most people act in their own best interests. This is not necessarily evil. It is simply human nature. Expecting others to prioritize your needs over their own is unrealistic and leads to disappointment. People will often act based on their desires, fears, and goals. This means that sometimes they will be kind and generous, and other times they will be indifferent or even selfish. Accepting this reality allows you to make wiser choices in relationships, business, and friendships. The key is to align yourself with people whose interests naturally align with yours, rather than expecting people to change for you. When you stop taking selfish behavior personally, you gain clarity in how to navigate relationships. Suffering is inevitable. Suffering is an unavoidable part of life. No matter how much you try to escape it, pain will find you. Loss, disappointment, failure, and heartbreak are all guaranteed experiences. But suffering itself is not the enemy. Your resistance to it is. Instead of avoiding suffering, learn from it. Every hardship teaches resilience. Every failure strengthens character. The Stoics embraced suffering as a teacher, understanding that wisdom comes from enduring pain rather than running from it. The most powerful individuals in history are those who have suffered deeply and used it to grow. Suffering is not an obstacle. It is a catalyst for transformation. If you accept pain as a natural part of life, you will no longer be paralyzed by it. Instead, you will embrace it, learn from it, and become stronger than you ever thought possible. You are not as important as you think. One of the biggest illusions people hold is that they are the center of the world. The truth is, most people are too occupied with their own problems to think about you as much as you believe. This realization can be both humbling and liberating. It means that your mistakes are not as catastrophic as they seem, and your failures are not as memorable to others as they are to you. We often magnify our own significance, believing that every misstep will be judged and every flaw scrutinized. But in reality, people forget. They move on. This should free you from the fear of judgment. When you stop worrying about how others perceive you, you gain the freedom to live authentically. Instead of seeking external validation, focus on becoming the best version of yourself for your own sake. Your happiness should not be dictated by the approval or disapproval of others. Accepting this truth allows you to move forward without unnecessary fear or hesitation. The Stoics taught that one of the biggest sources of suffering comes from our attachment to others' opinions. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own." When you realize that others are just as caught up in their own worries and insecurities, you begin to see how pointless it is to base your happiness on external validation. Ultimately, understanding your relative insignificance in the grand scheme of life is not depressing. It is freeing. It allows you to experiment, to fail, and to live on your own terms. You are not as important to others as you think, but that is exactly why you should pursue what truly matters to you without fear. You will die, and you don't know when. Death is the only certainty in life. Yet most people live as if they have infinite time. This ignorance leads to procrastination, unfulfilled dreams, and a lack of urgency in living fully. The Stoics believed in keeping death in mind daily, a practice known as memento mori, to remind themselves to make the most of their time